Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Blacklist, Season 9, Episode 19. We hope everybody has their bear mask on in order to discuss the bear mask. They did not send me the bear mask, so there's no bear masking happening here.
You know what? Now that I know what the bear mask is about, I am happy to not have that over here. We don't need to be all
Yeah.
sitting on this video facing our inner selves. This is a really deep episode.
This was dark, man. Like, this is not the sort of entertainment I am typically expecting from network television at 8 p.m. Eastern. I will just throw that out there first and foremost.
Yeah, this is not typical network television. This is 10 out of 10 television. But I mean, Blacklist for the most part is 10 out of 10 anyways. It doesn't always, there's a procedural part to it, but it does not always feel like this is a network show. This show it reminds me a lot of This Is Us, where it's like, could it be something that's more cable or not? Yeah.
We have obviously a lot to talk about with Aram, and we're also going to share the latest updates on the ongoing mystery of Reddington and the night of Liz's death, so stay tuned for that.
Marvin.
Marvin.
We're going to get into my Marvin theory because I'm feeling pretty confident about it. I've been dying on this hill for months.
You have.
But, we will get more into that. But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are here every single week talking about the Blacklist with reviews, with previews. So hit that button.
Also, if you guys do want to support us further, there is a button right below the video with a big ol' heart next to it that says thanks. If you guys want to support us, you can make a financial donation there. Leave a comment. Tell us how much you like this episode of the show or didn't like it. Doesn't matter, but we really appreciate everyone who has supported us through the Super Thanks program. And just thank you guys so much.
All right, before we get into all the Marvin of it all, because I am feeling pretty confident that my theory is playing out, let's just talk about Amir and his performance in this episode. 10 out of 10. So good. This was a very difficult episode, especially for anyone out there that is dealing with what Aram is going through. I am one of those people. If you've been at the channel for a little while, or if you're new here, I'll let you know. I deal with pretty extreme anxiety as well. So whenever there are episodes like this, they had one over on NCIS when Ziva returned talking about anxiety and a lot of what she was going through. This episode was like that, but like way worse. So much harder to watch as somebody with anxiety. This episode was giving me anxiety, which means that they did a good job at this. When it was first sort of introduced that he was going to be taking these drugs, I immediately had anxiety about it. And I've read a little bit about sort of this therapy and a little bit of, that it is sort of out there. It's nothing that I would want to participate in for this reason exactly. It seemed like a nightmare. And I know he came out of it at the end being like, I think I'm going to be better. I was like, no, sir, not for me. I don't think so. It just made me have anxiety. Like, I don't want to go through something where I'm going to watch like people I care about getting killed over and over again, like Groundhog Day. I was just like, wow.
If someone ever offers this to me, I have a very clear response. I'm good. Thank you. I will find, I don't know what it is. I will find something else to help me through it. I mean, I guess this doctor lady was not expecting that it would have this sort of result, but guess what? You need to do more research on your little dealio here. Because
she did say it was experimental. We'll give that a pass, but it's the same, Aram must have been pretty desperate at that point.
Clear, yeah. I mean, very, very much so. And he's holding on to a lot to the point where he is manifesting this just loop of everyone getting killed around him. And this was just like so intense. And Listen, I actually do understand why at first he was trying to think, okay, I can solve this riddle going on in my mind by helping to make sure that everyone survives, because I think in the task force, so much of their job is like problem solving of, okay, how do I save lives? So I think he viewed that situation the same exact way at first.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's why the whole scene with him in the bear mask and sort of facing that voice that's in your head when you have a lot of anxiety, that's just kind of like, you're not good enough, you're not able to do this, the voice that just piles on top of you so that you do stay sort of in that anxiety state where you're like, yeah, man, if I'm telling me I'm not able to do this, then I'm not able to do this, was so well done. And I think there's going to be a lot of people out there that can really relate to that.
Yeah, I've certainly had those sort of moments where, I've got sort of the evil version of Matt, or as like Amir called this on Twitter, Aram X, like having a conversation with them. See, to me, this shout out to all my fellow community fans out there. This felt a lot like evil Troy and Abed with like the goatees from the other timelines. Felt like it was so good to see Amir play evil, and I'm just like, you could go be a villain after this. I'm not saying I want you to be a villain, Amir. I like you, but this was such a dark, demented sort of way to play this scene.
Yeah, it continues to show just how diverse of an actor Amir is, and that he really is able to play these different types of roles, this sort of evil but confident, bad boy. It's just, he's great.
Okay, there were a couple of moments in this episode. Well, I will admit this right now. Like, there was plenty of reporting out there that Mazen was going to be back as Samar in this episode, but I was starting to think with all the, like, flashbacks we were getting, I was like, did Megan film something new for this episode? Like, did she actually come back? I don't know. She didn't, as far as I know, but I was starting to think it.
No, it was cool to see, Liz and everything that was going on, and to see the guilt that he feels about it, because we've seen a lot of the other team members dealing with what was my part in this of her death and why she's not here anymore. But we hadn't really seen a lot of Aram and how he was dealing with it. But oh man, all the stuff with Samar was so good, and you guys robbed me of that kiss. Why? How could you? How could you? How could you? I have been waiting so long for her to return, and I know that she's not like returning. At least there's no news of anything like that, but like, come on.
Okay, I'm completely making this up, by the way. There's no fact in anything I am about to say, but I'm going to say this for hopefully your benefit, my benefit, everyone's benefit out there.
Are you going to lie to me?
I'm going to lie to us all. But okay,
yeah.
Samar is going to come back next season. We're going to see her in the present. She'll be doing okay. I know she's got aphasia. She's been going through a lot, but you know what? She's going to come back, and they're going to give us the Aram and Samar happy ending, especially if next season is the final season. So, writers, make it happen. I have now lied to everybody about this. You got to do something for me here.
I will eat that lie. Okay. I like it. It is great.
All right. Thank you very much.
After Liz left, I was kind of hoping that they were going to just drive a truck of money up to her house and be like, can you please come back? And then Samar would be back. But they do have to undo some of what they've done.
Yeah.
To be able to bring her back fully and functioning and well.
I want to see a full episode of just like Samar on the island. Like, what are we talking about here? Is this like a castaway situation? Is this like a little bit different than that?
I am not interested. Just bring her back.
Well, I think
we've seen stranger things on this show. Yeah. Like, leave us in the comments some of the weirdest stuff that they have done on this show that would mean that they can find a way to bring Samar back.
Is this where we do the weekly mentioning of the robots? Okay, I was just wondering where that was going to come into play here. But I think in the end, Aram seems to be in a better place. He seems to be in more command now, I hope.
Yeah, that was the thing. I understand this is a procedural, and I understand that the doctor was kind of like, I know you feel like you're better, but, just remember that this is like, just an experiment. It's kind of a first trial or whatever. But I really hope that it isn't just he's done this and he's better. Mm-hmm. Just that, he's done this and he's on the road to being better. And whether he continues on with this or something else, I like that it gave some hope for anyone out there that's dealing with anxiety, that there are lots of different ways that you would be able to get past it. I am not recommending this. Just putting that out there. I am not recommending this. I don't know anything about this.
No, I think there's a good message at the end of all of this. And, and I've seen Amir even talking about be kind to yourself on social media.
Yes.
And like, it is, I think, a really, Amir. I know, he's such a treasure.
He really is.
Like, I love watching him in the pictures with dogs, but no, okay, he was really great in this episode. I'm glad we had a story like this. And now as we start to get into the Reddington stuff, I think we have to just pour a sad one out for Morgan, just like dead right at the start of this episode.
Yeah, they held nothing back with that. What about Morgan? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
how
what?
dare you guys destroy one of your weird Easter eggs to Chuck in that you have bodyguards named Chuck and they put the Chuck and Morgan characters in here just for me.
I know it.
And just me alone. But poor Morgan. This is probably the last time he's ever going to be mentioned because really Ouija was sort of more of the top story here.
Yeah, I mean, we expected that her sister was going to come back. She did. There was some pretty bad awkwardness between her and Reddington, but I mean, it's sort of expected. She's made it clear, really, he needs to stop this. It is now affecting not just him, but everyone around him, including her sister. So, it's got to be frustrating for her to watch it continuing when she's kind of like, you don't have to leave. You can stop this. And he's like, I will catch you outside. I'm leaving. So here we go.
I feel a lot for Reddington because he's in, I think, this really terrible, catch-22 situation where, he obviously cares about Mirza. He obviously wants her in his life, but I think at the same time, he also knows that if he doesn't get answers about this, it will probably drive him crazy for the rest of his life, and then he will never be there for Mirza or really anyone else. I think it was one thing in those years in between season 8 and season 9 where he didn't know all of this stuff, but now that he does, he can't walk away.
He is so close.
Yeah.
Especially after finding out that one of his bank accounts paid for this hit on Mrs. LaCroix.
Yeah.
It is Marvin. Listen, I know you guys are probably really tired of hearing the record here on the channel of it's Marvin.
Yeah.
But it is. And that's what I feel like. I've been saying this for months and months and months. I know that there are some of you out there that do agree with me. There's others that don't agree with me and just think that it's just too simple for this show. And to that, I just have to say, not everything on this show has to be so complicated. Sometimes laying out a long play story like Marvin is satisfying. This has been such a long play. He has been talking about Liz not being right for this role to take over the Empire for years. He has been talking about it to anyone who will listen to him. And then everything that happened with Brimley, that was it, man. That was the switch. I feel like that was it, where he was like, okay, Reddington is not listening to me. Nobody's listening to me. I have to find a way to get Liz out of this situation or Reddington is going to lose everything. No one is going to want to work for Liz if this is what she's willing to do to the employees of this empire. And he took care of Liz and now he is covering it up because he doesn't want to die. But this is where we're going, guys. I feel it. I die on this hill.
You're not dying. You're thriving on this hill right
I'm
now.
Thriving on this hill.
Because that is right. Because you know what? You have been here. I jumped on Marvin bandwagon a couple weeks ago after.
I'm fine. Everybody be on the bandwagon. And those of you who are not on it, I will see you at the finale and we will talk about this again.
See, I'm happy. I'm happy to catch the giant L that I caught on the Panda Baker stuff because you're right that this is a very satisfying story that has been set up for a very, very long time.
Oh, yeah, long time.
We have the proper motive. We understand why he would do this. And we even understand why he would get involved with the whole blackmailing part of this because he just wants to make all of this go away so that he can sort of wash his hands of this, not get found out and move on. But the problem here is that he's going to get found out. It's just so deep at this point, and I think now Reddington knows that it's connected to his empire. Oh man, this is really bad news for old Marvin here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Reddington didn't kind of figure out that somebody had to be connected to him. That's a lot closer to him with this, because there has been other clues that have popped up that are just kind of like, it's a little too close for comfort, it's a little too close to home. But Marvin makes sense that he would have a blind spot to after everything that happened with Brimley and how wrong Reddington was at that time about what happened with Marvin. I can see him at that point being like, I will never look at you that way again. I will never mistrust you ever again, which was a mistake because I think it's Marvin. And again, I think he's doing this out of love for Reddington, that he doesn't want to see everything that Reddington built just go to waste.
That's really it. I think this is just all about him trying to find a way to preserve something. Like, he really wanted to preserve the Empire. He didn't want Liz to have control of it, to see it go down the drain. And so he made that move, I think, not fully anticipating what every single thing on the other side of it would be. And now he has to try to clean up his own mess.
Yeah. And I mean, I could be wrong about the motive of why I think that Marvin is doing this, but I don't think I am.
No, I think you are.
I don't think that Marvin is like, I want to run the Empire. Mwahaha, I'll just kill off everybody. I don't think that's what's happening. I seriously think he's like, oh noes, I'm getting found out ever since that tracker came into play. And he's like, oh, I gotta clean up. And that's what's happening. That's why I think Cooper ended up getting messed up in this as well, because he was helping and he was helping get information, getting closer and closer. And I think he was like, well, if I just get Cooper out of that situation, maybe they'll kind of just shut down the task force. But instead they put Aram in that spot, and, things were kind of slowing down a little bit.
All right, everybody, it's theory time. So, of course, let us know in the comments your thoughts about this too. Was Marvin working with somebody, or is Marvin still working with somebody? Because here's sort of where I am with this right now, is that it's pretty clear that your Marvin theory is correct. I can't think of a single other person that would make sense with everything the show has given us. Now, we know that there is a season 10, and if this is Marvin, I'm pretty worried Marvin ain't getting out of this season alive, or if he does, he might go pretty early in season 10. I think they're going to use something later this season to set up season 10. And if Marvin is working with somebody, even maybe a bigger bad beyond the big bad, the number 2 on the blacklist that is not there, that I won't let go of, that is your season 10 pitch. Let's make it happen.
No, I agree. I think that he's working with a bunch of people. Because if you remember, Marvin's actually already been on the blacklist. He is not number 2. So is it possible that he's working with someone else? Absolutely. I actually think he's probably got a couple people that he's working with. And I'm sure that the whole thing that happened with Maureen, and we had the whole DNA, and it's like, oh, who was the body that was at, I don't think any of us are surprised that she was the person who was blown up in the building. And, for all the Kaplan circus that was going on, it would have been great to have her back, but it doesn't make any sense for her to be back. My theory is that he was probably kind of sort of working with or manipulating Maureen so that he could pin all of this on Kaplan. Because when we had that call with Reddington where Reddington was like, oh, maybe it's Mr. Kaplan, Marvin's like, maybe it is Mr. Kaplan. I'm like, okay, come on. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, Maureen, you're gonna go to this building, I just need you to be on the phone, everything will be okay, sort of thing. I think he thought that if he pinned it on Mr. Kaplan, who would be in the building, Maureen, of course, that then he would stop looking into things. I don't think Reddington was ever the target. I think it was so that Reddington would watch Mr. Kaplan get blown up and then be like, oh, well, I guess I'm done investigating this now because it was her. Marvin gets away with it. That's what I think he thought might happen, but it was just kind of a crappy plan.
No, yeah, it wasn't a good. I think it was a desperate man's plan, is what it is. It's a plan of somebody who is scrambling at the last minute and try. I think if he had, like, a few weeks to think about this a little bit more, maybe he would have done something a little bit more elaborate, and maybe he didn't have time for whoever his co-conspirator or conspirators might be in order to help him on the other side of all of this. And so now he's got to get a hold of this bank and get a hold of this bank really, really fast.
Yeah, I think that whoever he's working with is probably the person he is hoping is going to take over the empire, because we've seen him talking to Dembe before where he was like, what about you, Dembe, take over the empire? And Dembe's like, nah, I'm not interested, sort of thing. I don't think Marvin's interested either. I think he likes being this, lawyer for the criminal empire and being an important player in it, but I don't think he wants to run this whatsoever. So I do think that there's got to be someone else that he's like, it's gonna be you, number 2 on the blacklist. You will run this.
It's gonna be you. I'm just saying it now. Real Katerina Rostova. This is it. I have joked around about this for a little while, but I'm serious now. Like, I am planting my flag that the person he is working with is the real Katerina. She's still out there. She's number 2 on the blacklist, and that is going to be the final season setup. Wouldn't that be a gas, to quote a certain Raymond Reddington?
They would really have to convince me that she was okay with Liz dying, because I feel like if Marvin has put all this in motion, it was never the plan to kill Reddington. It was the plan to get rid of Liz. So Katerina would have to be okay with that. And I don't know why she would be.
Maybe he lied. Maybe he was like, oh, I'm going to get rid of somebody else. I don't know.
Maybe, but then wouldn't Katerina be like, hey, Marvin, you lied to me. Okay, now you're done.
Okay, this theory, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, okay? You know what? I just want to say the word Katerina, and I just want it to happen.
Listen, yeah. I want to say the name Marvin because I think I'm right.
Well, you are right with that.
Like, hey, we haven't got there yet.
We don't know for sure, but I mean, it is like a 99.9. My Katerina thing is like somewhere in like the 1 percentile at the moment. So,
I'm just, excited because my theories are typically wrong. So if I actually got something right, but, we ain't there yet. We'll see.
Well, you'll be getting your flowers soon enough on this. I think that's going to happen. But let's all just celebrate getting a really good episode of The Blacklist again. Yeah. Another really twisted one. We've only got a few more this season.
Yeah, this was a really good episode. Like, if they don't submit this for Emmys, I don't know what they're doing.
Well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of our other discussions this season. Follow us on Instagram @InJessTV, and we will see you here next time.